Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Fajar Jaya. I will explain my PowerPoint about definition of media of language teaching. So here we go. Learning. Learning is the development of new knowledge, skills, or attitudes as an individual interacts with information and the environment. The learning environment includes the physical facilities, the psychological atmosphere, instructional technology, media, and methods. We are concerned primarily with the learning that takes place in response to instructional efforts on the part of students and teachers. Media. Media, means of communication and source of information, derived from the Latin word meaning between. The term refers to anything that carries information between a source and a receiver. Example include a video, television, diagrams, printed material, computer programs, and instructor. These are considered instructional media when they provide message with an instructional purpose. The purpose of media to facilitate communication and learning. First is instructor-directed learning. Common use of technology and media in an instructional situation is for supplemental support of the live instructor in the classroom. Certainly, properly designed instructional media can enhance and promote learning and support teachers based on instruction, but their effectiveness depends on the instructor. For example, case studies. The second is learner-directed learning. Technology and media can also be used effectively in formal education situations where a teacher isn't available or is working with other students. Cooperative learning is closely related to self-instruction. As students work together in groups or in collaboration with the teacher on learning projects, they make more responsibility for learning. Portfolio. A portfolio is a collection of students' work that illustrates growth over a period of time. Students' abilities to prepare mediated presentation that summarize their own understanding of thematic topic. Portfolio allows students to do the following: 1. Gather, uh, organize and share information, analyze relationship, test hypotheses, communicate the result effectively, record a variety of performance, reflect on their learning and activities, emphasize their goals, outcomes, and priorities, demonstrate their creativity and personality. Thematic instruction. Many teachers are now organizing their instruction around topics and anchors. This is known as thematic instruction. Then is distance education. Distance education is a rapidly developing approach to instruction worldwide. The approach has been widely used by business, industrial, and medical organizations. The distinguishing characteristic of distance education is the separation of the instructional team and students during learning. Traditionally, instructional methods have been described as a presentation form, such as lectures and discussion. Methods are the procedure of the instruction selected to help learners achieve the objectives or to internalize the content or message. Students-directed methods. Discussion. As a method, discussion involves the exchange of the ideas and opinions among students or among students and teacher. It can be used at any stage of instruction and learning, any small or large groups. It's a useful way of assessing the knowledge, skill, and attitudes of group before the students before finalizing instructional objectives. Teacher-directed method. Presentation. In the presentation method, source tells, dramatize, or otherwise disseminates information to learners. It's a one-way communication controlled by the source, with no immediate response from the interaction with the learners. The source may be a textbook, an audio tape, a video tape, a film, an instructor, and so forth. The world of the world of technology has always had a variety of connotations, ranging from more hardware to a way of solving problems. The latter is exemplified in the often quoted definition given by economist John Kenneth Galbraith: the systematic application of scientific or other organized knowledge to practical instructional system. An instructional system consists of a set of interrelated components that work together effectively and reliably within a particular framework to provide learning activities necessary to accomplish a learning goal. First component, instructional system. The objective. The objective is what you want to teach or what the students want to learn. Next up is a method, many methods that we can use. For example, discussion, cooperative learning, games, stimulation, discovery, problem solving, presentation, and etc. Next is media. The media is, for example, audio, then visual, motion media, manipulative like real or virtual media, and then text and people. The environment. The environment is sometimes referred to as the facilities or setting. For example, library, lab, classroom, and etc. People. The people. Uh, People is very important component of most instructional system. Next is equipment. Various types of equipment are discussed throughout the text, particularly in the classroom resource. Instructional system. Instructional system consists of a set of interrelated components that work together effectively and reliably within a particular framework to provide learning activities necessary to accomplish a learning goal. First component, instructional system. The objective. The objective is what you want to teach or what the students want to learn. Next up is a method, many methods that we can use. For example, discussion, cooperative learning, games, stimulation, discovery, problem solving, presentation, and etc. Next is media. Uh, the media is, for example, audio, then visual, motion media, manipulative like real or virtual media, and then text and people. The environment. The environment is sometimes referred to as the facilities or setting. For example, library, lab, classroom, and etc. People. The people. Uh, People is very important component of most instructional system. Next is equipment. Various types of equipment are discussed throughout the text, particularly in the classroom resource. When one-way receptive or two-way instruction. As we are designing an instructional system, we must also consider other characteristics, for example, group size, time, and location of the lead of categories of instructional system. Successful instruction, regardless of the psychological perspective, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, or social psychologists, may incorporate a number of common principles. First, active participation and interaction, practice, individualized instruction, reinforcement of feedback, realistic context, cooperative group. A simulation is an abstraction or simplification of some real-life situation or process. In simulation, participants usually play a role that involves them in interaction with other people or with claimants of the simulated environment. Program instruction was chronologically the first instructional system and is an explicit application of principal learning theory of conditioning or simulation games. A simulation game combines the attributes of simulation, role-play, a model of reality, with the attributes of game, striving toward a goal, specific rules. Then cooperative simulation games. Instructional simulation games have been developed that pursue similar philosophy. Program tutoring. Program tutoring is a type of instructional system that provides one-to-one interaction. The Azure model. The Azure model is a procedural guide for planning and conducting instruction that incorporates media and technology, assuming that training or instruction is required. Analyze learners. The first step in the Azure model is audience. It's not possible to analyze every trait of your learners. Several factors that are critical to making good methods and media decisions: general characteristics, specific entry competencies, and learning style. Then the second step is the Azure model is two-step. The objectives of interaction. In the statement of objectives, you should be as specific as you can. The selection process has three steps: deciding on the appropriate method for the given task. The first is choosing a method, then choosing a media format, then obtaining specific material. The first is preview the material. You should preview the material first. During the selection process, you should determine that the materials are appropriate for the audience and objectives. Then prepare the environment. Wherever the learning place, like in the classroom, lab, field, and etc., uh, you have to be arranged for proper students use of the material and media. Then prepare the learners. You should prepare the learners like directing attention, increasing motivation, providing a rational reply whether the lesson is teacher-based or student-centered. Then provide the learning experience. If the materials are teacher-based, you should present like a professional. If the experience is centered, you must play the role of guide of facilitator. The role of visual in instruction. First, one role that visually definitely play is to provide a concrete reference for idea. Then, visual can simplify information that is difficult to understand. Then, visual provide a redundancy when accompanying spoken or written verbal information. They present that information in a different modality, giving some learners a chance to comprehend visually what they might miss verbally. Visual literacy can be developed through two major approaches. First, input strategies, helping learners to decode or read visual proficiently by practicing visual analysis skills. Then, output strategies, helping learners to encode or write visual to express themselves and communicate with others. Visual literacy education. The district curriculum guide encourages teachers to consider visual learning style and emphasize the importance of visual in developing creativity and critical thinking skills. Goals of visual design. The first is ensure legibility, then reduce the effort required to interpret the message, and then increase the viewer's active engagement with the message, and then focus attention on the most important parts of the message. Process of visual design. The fourth is element, selecting and assembling the verbal or visual elements to incorporate into the display. Next is pattern, choosing an underlying pattern for the elements of the display. The last is arrangement, arranging the individual elements within the underlying pattern. I think that's all that I can say. Sorry for any mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.